Hey everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is August 17th, 2021, and these are the top stories of the day. One of the top stories, as you can see right here, yes, this is from Indie World from August 17th, 2020, in advance of the next day presentation on August 18th, but more specifically, it's a still shot from Video Game News with Paul Gale Network exactly 1 year ago today, because today marks the 1 year anniversary of when I started regular Video Game News with PGN segments on YouTube and on paulgalenetwork.com. Now, I of course have been on YouTube for 15 years, dating back to 2006, and had different video game news shows in the past, different Q&A sessions, obviously martial arts tutorial videos, random exercise things, unboxing videos, reaction videos, live on hands footage of old school E3s that I have attended, different video game events like E for All Expos, video game themed pumpkin carvings, you name it, quite a bit of material I've had over the years. Original skits like Dragon Ball Z, Street Fighter, etc. And it's been a blast. But 1 year ago today, I thought, let me do a new, weekly or so video game news segment. And this is the format that I chose. And we now have 166 videos in Video Game News with Paul Gale Network from when I started it a year ago. And around this same time, I also started Video Game Talk with PGN, which has fewer videos, but those are generally longer, focused, centralized discussions on specific games or specific events that I'm looking forward to. Those have been a lot of fun. There have been a few video game news segments that kind of break off into video game talk territory. So if you're watching this video and if you're seeing it in one of the playlists on my channel, you may look and see that there are a couple of videos that are shared between playlists, video game news and video game talk with PGN. But for the most part, they're two different entities. Talk is a different segment, like my breakdown video of hoping that Nintendo does an extreme sports racing compilation where it's 1080 snowboarding, I almost said 1080p, 1080 snowboarding, wave race, and Excite Bike all rolled up into one game. That's a designated video game talk segment. Whereas news, we go over Famitsu NPD sales charts, any new breaking story, whether it's Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, about to drop something. And here you can see 1 year ago today, Nintendo said that coming tomorrow, August 18th, 2020, will be an Indie World presentation. And we covered that. And I still do, video game live reactions to shows such as, E3 segments, Nintendo Directs, Pokemon Presents, PlayStation, Xbox events, Game Awards, and so forth. But they may not necessarily show up in video game news. They're in their own reaction segment. But I just wanted to say right now, thank you for joining me in this last year. I've been covering video game news for a variety of outlets for a very long time, from gamers.com to oneup.com to bitmob.com to paulgalenetwork.com to shagmag, and I've helped different sites, helped different people, launched products, and pages, and contributed to articles and stuff like that. But this particular segment is now a year old, and I plan on keeping it up. I'm having a lot of fun talking to you. If you are an old school subscriber, which there are some of you that go way back to 2006 and have been following me for 15 years on YouTube, thank you. I appreciate it. If you are someone that hopped in somewhere along the line and follow me for video games or martial arts or pumpkin carving or whatever I do, some of my funny skits and stuff like that, exercise videos, I also appreciate it. Thank you. If you have specifically come across my channel within the last year and are really here for my video game news talking segments and my designated talk segments, then an extra thanks. welcome to the channel. I hope that you've been entertained. I hope that I have been informative and have brought to you not every single news story that comes out on the daily, but generally, like I say, the top stories of the day, and thanks again. So just a fun little look back. I thought I would check it out. I'm not going to hit play or anything. That's okay. But it is kind of neat to see. I did wear this same shirt today on purpose because I looked up, 17th is coming up. Kind of exciting. And here we are, kind of poetically, once again, on the eve of the indie world when I had my first video game news with Paul Gale Network segment. Once again, we are on the eve of another Nintendo-related event because tomorrow is the Pokemon Presents. Kind of cool, right? Pretty neat. Hopefully that trend continues, I keep doing video game news with Paul Gale Network segments for years to come, and what do we get? Every year on the anniversary, the next day, there's going to be some kind of Nintendo presentation, a partner showcase or something. That'd be kind of cool. And it would be easy to look forward to because my mom's birthday is August 16th. So you always remember, well, I always remember, the next day is, video game news with PGN anniversary. And the next day would be a Nintendo event of some sort. So that's kind of cool. But anyways, this is coming up tomorrow, which is one of the things that we're going to talk about later today. But once again, a little longer intro than normal. And yeah, Video Game News with Paul Gale Network isn't truly one of the top stories of the day in the world of video gaming. But if you've been following the channel along for the last year or came in at some time in the last few months, maybe you thought it was cool, like, oh, neat. I've been here for a year following PGN. Awesome. Hopefully awesome is your feedback. So thanks again. All right, now let's move on, okay? Enough delay. The first thing to talk about today is Fortnite Impostors, a launch trailer.
We've run things successfully for thousands of years. We, the imagined order, facing crisis after crisis, without a single failure. But since Jones betrayed us, now it's clear. He wasn't working alone.
Trust nobody. So that's new, and hopefully the Fortnite community embraces it and enjoys it, and hopefully it is a good quality product. But that's the kind of thing that I was talking about earlier is there are a lot of reaction videos that I have where there's, a debut trailer and me giving my first impression for the very first time, watching with you, sometimes in a live stream, sometimes in a designated clip. This is small enough that I'm putting it into, video game news with PGN. If it was a little bit of a bigger trailer, like, the next time we get a Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, for instance, that thing's definitely going to have its own, 2.5-minute trailer reaction video. Probably won't be in the video game news with PGN column on that playlist, but it'll be in the other one. So I'm trying to talk to old members and to new members and people that, see this down the road potentially. Because even though the news will be old, seeing me for the first time will be new, and yeah, give you a little idea of how I work. Okay, moving on. SCUF Gaming showed off today their new Xbox Series XS PC controllers. There's a $170 model. You can check it out at scufgaming.com. They have triggers built in. You can see on the back. You have different faceplate that you could pop in, rubberized grips. They have different colors. There's the Instinct for $170. There's the Instinct Pro for $200. The Pro adds a competitive edge with non-slip performance grip and instant triggers that switch from regular to a mouse-like click at the flip of a switch. The Instinct is built for speed with 4 newly designed remappable paddles, interchangeable thumbsticks, and 3 onboard profiles. Remappable paddles, pretty cool. Instant triggers, not bad. Performance grip, I feel like more controllers going forward should probably have this built in, but I see that it is an extra cost from the manufacturer to provide better quality rubber, plastics, etc. Interchangeable thumbsticks, something that we have seen before, but pretty cool. You could go shorter, taller, and a removable faceplate. Not bad because you're getting a different look, and that's kind of cool. Not bad. Let me know what you think. Do you like Microsoft's own first-party version, or are you a SCUF gaming fan? Do you plan on picking this up? Is it too much controller for you? Do you look at that price and get intimidated of, okay, there's nothing I play that competitively that needs that $170 or $200 price tag? You're good with a default controller. Honestly, for me, even though I have played on and used different Elite controllers before, I'm mostly good all the time with the default controller that comes with my Xbox, my PlayStation console, my Nintendo, whether it's Nintendo Switch or past Nintendo systems. So aside from the occasional arcade stick that I purchase, pro level, elite level controllers, I find a good value in them potentially for certain markets, but for me, I don't find myself buying them. But let me know what you think, because it still is pretty cool. Good options. Okay, next up, one of the biggest games that came out that had a lot of talk in the later half of 2020 was Cyberpunk 2077. A pretty good game if you're playing it on Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, in which I purchased the Xbox One version and happened to be playing it on my Series X. But a lot of base Xbox One and PlayStation 4 systems did not run the game very well. Of course, CD Projekt Red got a lot of flack for that, a lot of refunds. It was taken off the PlayStation Store, etc. There have been fixes, there have been improvements to the base versions, as well as if you're playing it on the PlayStation 4 or Xbox Series S, X, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, any version of those systems. It is improved now over its November debut experience. However, it's still not perfect on the base models, but at $10, I think it's a good enough game that even though it isn't where it should be still on the base Xbox One, PlayStation 4 versions, it's good enough of a game that for $10 you could overlook some of the errors, because there are fewer glitches, there are fewer freezes and stuff like that. It is a more playable experience, even though that's not the version that I'm experiencing myself hands-on, just from word of mouth and from interacting with other gamers and seeing where they're at. They're enjoying it more. Then I would say for $10, check it out. This is a game that debuted at 60, was dropped quickly to 40, dropped now to 10. If you go to Best Buy, you actually also get a free Steelbook case. So you're getting the game and the Steelbook case, whether it's for Xbox One or PlayStation 4. It's going to be $10 for both, and that's kind of cool. So, like I said, it's overall a pretty good game. Now, I did play it under optimum settings, on an OLED TV, on an Xbox Series X, and actually, the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 versions are going to eventually get another patch to help bring them up to higher quality of next gen, now current gen standards. More fidelity, higher frame rate, probably increased resolution to have things be at the most optimum level possible. Perhaps some ray tracing added in. We'll see just how far they go with it. But I thought this was one of the biggest games that we were talking about last year. It underperformed, still sold well, but now for $10, I think now it's very little risk to hop back in. And moving along the lines, today Sony is going to be dropping PlayStation 5s. Technically, every week, Walmart, GameStop, Best Buy, Amazon, Target, Sony themselves, they're making PlayStation 5s available. It feels like it's a very scarce system because PlayStation 4 had an installed base of a very healthy 115 million people that spanned pretty smoothly throughout the 8 years that it was on the market. from its 2013 debut to now. 7 technically between launch of PS4 and PS5, but almost 8 as of this November. And it was such a strong community from such a high amount of owners that they want to roll right into PS5, which is very good for Sony. But what's bad is with chip shortages, with the pandemic, etc., it just doesn't feel like there are a lot of these out there in the wild because they keep on getting, picked up. Also, scalpers adding to the craziness. This also is partially true with the Xbox Series X and S, but they're a little bit more easily available, a little bit less in demand, but still pretty up there. But today is supposed to be a big drop on August 17th at several retailers, including from PlayStation themselves, for some PSN exclusive folks, and then also for just anybody that goes through Sony's site to get it. So I would say keep on the lookout. There are over 10 million PS5 owners already. That's only an 11th of the PS4 fan base. It's not that, okay, we're expecting all 100 million to be available in the first year. No, but people would like to see, okay, a good 30 million available, and that's just not going to happen. There's not going to be 30 million available because at least that would satisfy close to a third of the current fan base that owns a PS4 that really wants to hop right in. But Sony's doing what they can. So they are out there. I got mine at launch. I've been happy with it. But I know a lot of people are still waiting. And hopefully by this holiday season, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo are all able to really deliver as many as they possibly can. And I love the competition. I love that we're in a healthy video game landscape where nobody's completely dominating. Everyone is successful. You have Nintendo currently is the market leader. Undeniable. They're dominating in the hardware and software charts globally. But that's not to say that PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series is not doing well. They are all doing very well. So that's pretty cool to see. All right. And kind of one more time to glance over. I showed this image earlier, but Pokemon Presents. It is tomorrow. It's a 28-minute presentation. I'm not going to spend too much time talking on it because I did talk about it for several minutes a few days ago when Pokemon announced that the Presents was coming in a few more days. So really I want to just get your last impressions, last hopes. What do you want to see tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Pacific time? We know we're going to get 28 minutes of Arceus, Diamond, and Pearl remakes. Maybe something else. It looks like there will be room for a small announcement of something. Maybe it's just something like Unite. Maybe it's a little tease at something to look forward to in the future. That's speculation. Hopefully, we get a good split between Arceus and the remakes. The remakes we saw very briefly in that Nintendo Switch OLED model presentation video, where it was very clear that the graphics have improved in that July look from the February look 5 months earlier. You also got to imagine that when all 3 of these games were shown off in February of 2020, they probably represent a December 2019 build. It allowed the developers to capture footage, string together trailers, etc., and then have it ready while still developing alongside for a February Pokemon Presents. Didn't get shown off at E3, but that July Nintendo Switch OLED model with its new footage, it probably represents a look of Diamond and Pearl as of maybe June. So Arceus, I think that's going to have the biggest jump in impressiveness, hopefully, fingers crossed, because I'm really looking forward to that one. Because when it gets shown off tomorrow, if it represents June or July footage, that's going to be quite a bit far ahead of where it was at in February when we were looking at December footage of the game. So you're looking at maybe 6 or 7 months further in development. That's enough time to make a pretty significant improvement. And that Diamond and Pearl footage that we get tomorrow, it's probably going to be the same look overall of what we got in the OLED presentation, because it's probably still coming from like June. So I'm kind of stoked. I'm hoping that all three look awesome and that their individual trailers are very well received. So here's to them. All right, let me know what you thought of today's content. Cyberpunk for $10. Are you gonna get it for a game plus a steelbook? Pokemon Presents. What are you looking forward to tomorrow? PlayStation 5. Are you gonna be refreshing today online at the various retailers, because they will be restocking, and like I said, they are every week, but today it looks like it's going to be a bigger quantity, so you should have a little bit better of a chance. SCUF controllers, you into it or not? Fortnite, you down with the imposters or staying away from that? And video game news with Paul Gale Network. How would you honestly rate this last year's worth of videos? This is video number 167 in 365 days, so it's a little bit less than half of the time in the year do I make a video, so it's not quite once every 3.5 days. It's a little less than that, once every 3.2 days or something like that is when I make a video. I knew going in I wouldn't make one necessarily every single day, but try to make a couple every week, and video game talk segments, once a monthish or something like that. But what do you think? Any improvements, any suggestions, any likes or dislikes of the presentation, of the news, advice, whatever? I'm open to it. Thank you, though, once again for watching. Look forward to reading your comments later on. Happy 1-year anniversary. I'll give myself a small clap to Video Game News with Paul Gale Network. Take care, everybody. See you next time. Have a good one.